Curses! Foiled again.
Hey there, everybody. My name's Mike LaPlante, and you know who I am. That's right. I'm the average wine enthusiast. Today, I just wanted to do another little segment, come to you and talk to you a little bit about that part of the wine bottle that you have to get rid of before you can pull the cork out. And of course, I'm talking about the foil. This piece of foil here on top is known as the capsule. I'm not exactly sure where the origin of that is, but that's wine bottling lingo, I guess. And of course, it's made out of foil, and of course, you have to get rid of it before you before you can pull the cork out. Not necessarily. I've stuck my corkscrew through the foil before and just pulled it out. But you tend to end up with a mess on top here, and then you get little pieces of foil in your bottle of wine, or you go to pour it and it's shooting out all different directions. So it's best to have a nice clean cut. So a lot of folks are asking me, Mike, what is the best way to cut the foil from the top of your bottle? Because I've seen people do it one way and I've seen people do it another way. What is your opinion? So I thought I'd come to you and talk to you a little bit about that. So this is the capsule. This little piece of glass here with the ridge on it, that's known as the ring, or the finish, some people call it, or the top neck. So 3 different names for this little piece of glass that comes out there and assists us in cutting the foil off of the bottle of wine. So let's just get into it and see how you can get rid of the foil on your bottle of wine.
So there's basically 2 places where you can cut the foil off of your bottle from. You can cut it from underneath the ring, or you can cut it on top of the ring. And the reason for that, of course, is because there's like 2 ridges. There's a ridge, something you can push your blade up against. For much of my wine drinking journey, I have used the top part of the ring to cut the foil. But I know a lot of waiters and sommeliers use the bottom part of the ring. I suspect the reason for this is because over the course of a night, a waiter or a sommelier would open many bottles of wine during the course of an evening, and this is probably the safest place to be cutting the foil at. As opposed to cutting the foil at the top of the ring during the course of a night, a sommelier or a waiter might be, chit-chatting with whoever he's opening the bottle of wine for, or maybe the bartender or the wine guy doesn't know the angle of his knife, and it could easily slip off, especially if you're doing, 100 bottles a night. An accident is not all that unlikely. So if you're a waiter or a sommelier, you would want to go underneath so there's no risk of the knife slipping off and you hurting yourself while getting the foil off. So when you cut at the bottom of the ring, there is little risk involved in hurting yourself. Also, when you are cutting at the top, there's more of a risk if your score isn't perfect, or if you're in a hurry. The foil can rip in such a way that there's some foil that gets in the way of the hole at the top of the bottle. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab the bottle and I'm going to place my knife underneath the ring, and I'm going to push my thumb on the other side of it so that I got a firm grip on it, and I'm placing lots of pressure on the blade into the foil, and then I'm spinning the bottle around. The knife remains stationary. So I went all the way around the bottle and scored the foil. Also, I like to use a blade that has a serrated edge on it. And then what you're going to want to do is make a cut just straight up from your score up to the top of the bottle, like that. And then you'll just grab a corner and pull that away, and then you should be easily able to peel the rest of the foil off of the bottle. And then there you have it, a nice clean cut, no foil. So we just cut the foil using the bottom of the ring but now we're going to cut the foil on top of the ring. And this is the way that I've cut the foil from bottles of wine for much of my wine drinking career. Having said that, about 18 months ago, I received a corkscrew from a winery in California, and this particular corkscrew has a built-in foil cutter. You can see that there's 4 cutting wheels on the bottom that you place on the ring, and you spin the corkscrew around and it cuts the foil for you. Having said that, you could also get a separate foil cutter, which I'm sure lots of you wine drinkers out there have laying around. It's basically the same thing. It's just a standalone foil cutter. So what I'm going to do now is cut the foil off the top of this with the blade on my waiter's friend, so you can see that if a sommelier were to do this all night, it could slip off and push into his thumb. Or it could, might not be perfect cut, and foil could be left loose on top of the bottle. So what I'm going to show you here is you push the blade into the bottle on a somewhat downward angle towards the top of the ring, and I'm just going to spin the bottle and not spin the knife. Just keep the knife stationary while I'm spinning the bottle, and I make a nice score around the ring of the bottle. Pull up on the foil, and as you can see, there's nothing perfect about this cut. You can see that there is potential here to leave a mess on the top of the foil. And as you can see on top of the bottle, there's little pieces of foil on the edge of the glass and on the cork here, and that of course can infiltrate your bottle, or even find foil inside of your glass as well. So we've used a knife to cut above the ring, below the ring, but now we're going to cut above the ring, but we're going to be using a foil cutter. You could use a foil cutter like this one here, but I am going to be using the foil cutter that is built right into my corkscrew. I'll be placing the cutting wheels directly on top of the ring and squeezing. Just put it on there, and like before, I spin the bottle and keep the opener stationary. Give it a couple spins, and the cutting wheels on here are very sharp, and I always end up with a perfect cut, and the foil should just pop right off. Time to enjoy some wine. I hope you guys liked this little segment I did on removing the wine foil from your wine. I hope to see you on the next episode. My name is Mike LaPlante, and I'm the average wine enthusiast. Salute!